Hello, everyone, and welcome back to On Creativity. Thank you for joining us. I'm Matt Nickley. Costume design is more than just clothing. It's a visual language that tells a story before a single word is even spoken. And today's guest has mastered that language in some of the most beloved and visually stunning films and series of our time. Jany Temime is the creative force behind the costumes in the Harry Potter universe, from The Prisoner of Azkaban to The Deathly Hallows Part 2, where she guided the wizarding world from school robes to the darker, more dangerous looks of the maturing saga. She's also brought her signature eye for detail and character to blockbuster films like Skyfall and Spectre, defining the modern Bond style, and to Gravity, where she dressed astronauts for a film that was as scientifically meticulous as it was emotionally gripping. Her work on Judy helped bring Judy Garland's final chapter to life with authenticity and heart, earning acclaim for its emotional precision. And she's ventured into the epic fantasy realm of House of the Dragon, where her designs blend rich history with bold imagination to create a visual world worthy of the Iron Throne, earning her an Emmy in 2023. From wands to martinis to zero gravity, she's dressed them all, and she's here to share the art and the craft behind it. From SCADcast, this is On Creativity, a conversation between Paula Wallace and Jany Temime.
Jany, welcome to the SCAD Lacoste Film Festival, and congratulations on your Étoile Award.
Thank you. Thank you. You gave it to me, so
Yes.
I should say thank you, Paula, for giving me that étoile.
Well, it's just a dream come true to have you here and for us to be able to spend time with you, for the students to listen to you and to learn from you. So thank you. I mean, you're an educator this week.
But I really enjoyed yesterday the masterclass that I gave. I thought it was really nice because the kids, I call them the kids, they much taller than I am, but they are so wonderful.
Thank you.
They were clever. The questions they asked were so good and precise, and they knew what they wanted to know. Mm-hmm. And I think that for a kid just finishing university, to have already such a precise idea of what you should ask to know the job, it's very mature. I thought they were very mature.
Well, they've studied your work, so they were thrilled to get to meet you. Your Emmy Award-winning costumes for House of the Dragon. I'd love to hear about those and about that work.
Well, it was my first big television series because usually I do films. I did film for 25 years, and then suddenly I'm doing that television series, which I really enjoyed because I was a fan. I was a fan of the one before, and when they told me that they were doing a following, and I read the book, and I thought, my God, if I have to do a television series, then I want something really big and extraordinary. And then also because it was not completely, it's a fantasy. It was not really fixed in the time. So I could do whatever I wanted.
Yes, your imagination.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't keep it really medieval, or change it to be the period, depending on the character. And I had lots of fun.
Well, they're gorgeous. All the costumes are gorgeous. And you did some of the initial work here in the south of France.
Yes, because it was, we were stuck here with COVID.
Yes.
You know, we arrived in February after the award from Los Angeles. We thought we are going to have 1 week to relax here, detox, less champagne, more mineral water. And then we never left before July.
Amazing.
Because we couldn't take it because it was the confinement and the confinement and the confinement and I remember thinking, oh my God, it's so nice to be confined in the Riberon instead of being confined in London. It was incredible.
Yes.
And so I started designing. So we had lots of Zoom meeting, which was great. And I started designing, and I had a rhythm with the sketch artist who was confined in LA. So I was doing my sketches in the daytime. I was sending them emailing them to him at 5 o'clock. He was, by that time, just waking up, so we could have a 10-minute conversation. And he was making them very beautiful and sketching them. And I was getting them at 8 o'clock in the morning when I was waking
Very
up. And
efficient.
that's how we worked for 6 weeks.
Oh, very efficient.
Exactly. And when it was, I think you get really efficient when you have to.
Yes.
You can cope with, actually, you know, human being cope with every situation, and when you are faced to it, okay, you make it work.
Well, this pastoral region here, and you have a home here. What do you love about the Luberon?
What I love about the Luberon, the harmony. I think that the nature here is very harmonious. You have the green is very green because it's the winter are real winter, so it's not like completely dry.
No.
It's not the rocks and it dry like you have in, for instance, in North Africa or something like that. It's a very pleasant nature here. So you have lots of green, lots of flowers. You have the lavender, which are incredible, like we can see outside here. With lavender, this purple.
I know, and people can't understand how intense the color is without actually seeing it firsthand.
Exactly. And also it's so delicate because it grows hard lavender. You know, like in the beginning it's a little bit gray, and then suddenly it becomes darker and darker. That explosion of purple that you see.
We love it. Everyone who's into the arts and color, we love the lavender, but also the cherry orchards and everything else.
The light.
The light. The Harry Potter films brought you to international acclaim, and you devoted 7 years to 6 films, right? 10 years to 6 films.
10 years, my lord.
Wow.
And I did 7 films.
7 films. So that's a big commitment. Big commitment.
Because the last film was 2.
Actually.
All right. So that
10
makes it's a big
7
commitment.
Films,
But I didn't know when I started that I was going, you start for a year and then 10 years after you wake up and you say, oh, where did it go?
Well, you obviously did a great job because they kept being very successful. And of course, you were an integral part of the whole Harry Potter world. Could you share some anecdotes about your experiences?
Yeah, I when I think backward, when I think back to it, I think that one of the success of the Harry Potter series is based on the fact that we didn't know that we were that good. We had the success. We knew it was successful, but it did not have the level of notoriety that it has now.
Oh.
We were a successful film, like a lot of successful films, but we were not yet a series. Every film was a happening because J.K. Rowling had not written them all. We were always arriving 1 year or 2 years after, but it was progressive. So by the time I arrived with Alfonso Cuarón on number 3 that you are going to project tomorrow,
yes,
which I think is one of the best one. I absolutely love Prisoner of Azkaban, and I'm so happy that you decided to project it in this surrounding.
It's going to be amazing.
It's amazing. And then every year, not every 2 years or 1.5 years, we were making another one. In between, I always just try to do another project just to sort of wash it up and start fresh again. And I think all the crew was doing that. So we were not, we didn't book for 10 years. No, we didn't do that. We just came back, and then by the 6th, then we knew that we were really in.
Into something,
and
yes.
I remember the premiere of the last film. I realized the impact on the people because they had done a red carpet, which was in London, starting on Leicester Square. I mean, it was like 2 kilometers of red carpet. And I arrived there and I saw kids were sleeping there for 2 nights to make sure that they could look at their stars. And then I realized how enormous the phenomenon was. But I did not have really, I didn't know the extent of it. I think we were quite safe in our studio in North London.
It's an international phenomenon for sure. and just great stories and
Wonderful.
everything about them.
Wonderful.
How do you feel about when you see normal people walking around in replicas of your costumes?
But the worst for me is that when I look and I see them wearing my scarf, and I think, and then some scarves are good, they are the right color,
Yes.
and some scarf. I was in the supermarket and I was behind somebody with the wrong yellow scarf, and I said, listen, I designed that, but that's not the right yellow, because my yellow was a lot nicer, was more awkward than that, because some merchandising is cheaper and less well done than other one, and then it offended me a little bit when I see that it is not the proper colors.
Yes, I know.
But I see lots of them. I still have the original Daniel Radcliffe scarf, which I'm keeping, like a souvenir. That,
yes,
I
in
have.
archival paper wrapped up.
Not even, it's rolled up somewhere. But I have it because I just kept that.
Were those crowds in London, were a lot of people dressed in
Yes,
like Harry
all
Potter
of them.
costumes?
All of them. They still do. But it's I think that it's a young generation now, so they are not as. But I still see some older. I designed the two the two first park in Orlando. I designed the costume for that, and also the costume of the staff. So then I was quite involved in the merchandising and what they were selling, and I used to walk in the park and say, no sunglasses, you change of shoes, and I was bothering everybody. So, but no, and then I did something else. But it was incredible. It was also another part, to see the reaction of the people, and then we had the 10 years anniversary, and then I saw all those crowd, and then. And I think the phenomenon was then picking up and being bigger and bigger.
It must make you feel amazing to see the impact of your work.
Yes.
Of course, all the Potter films were huge productions, and you had 100 or more staff, crew
big
working
team.
on costumes alone. The sheer volume and focused attention on the Yule Ball, though, that must have been something to plan for and execute.
Yeah. Well, it's like a pyramid. I'm on the top and I don't look on the. No, that's not like that. But I have people. I have people. So I have a supervisor, assistant supervisor. With that. What was a problem on Potter, like a lot of those big films, is that we are shooting with 2 or 3 units in the same time.
Yes.
So it's hard to control the other unit. You have to rely on people. You have to learn to rely on people, because I think in the beginning, when I started doing those big films, one of the biggest lessons that I had to learn quickly was to learn to delegate and to trust the people working for you, because if not, you just get mad. and it's not necessary to get mad, because you don't achieve anything.
Yeah.
But to trust other people and think, okay, well, they have to, but still you have to keep the control, because you look at rushes and you see what's happening, and then you have to very, very careful. I mean, you if somebody must know about delegating is you, so you know that, but it's quite hard, I think, for a young designer to learn that, to learn to trust other people than yourself. I think that's one of the hardest part of the job, I think.
Well, you probably established protocols, didn't you, of like kind of a code?
Yes, you do, but but then the next one and the next one and the next one, and then you have a little crew for a pickup in the middle of Scotland, and then those one never heard of you.
I can see.
Yeah, you imagine, yeah.
What's your collaboration like with the actors, directors, production designers, and other people responsible for the success?
With actors, it's close. You have to be close, because they are wearing what you design.
Yes.
So first they have to feel comfortable, and they have to represent closely what the director had in mind on that part, and you have to be very, very diplomatic, I think, also, about how they look at themselves,
Yes.
the image they project.
Yes.
Because you are in between different things, you know.
Yes.
It's always difficult to dress somebody to place somebody else than
Yes.
themselves.
Yes. Yes.
You have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And every time that I'm in front of a conflict, I'm stuck. I think, what would I do if somebody would put up a costume and say, "Now go and play the part"? And you think, "Oh, is that really?" You know. So I think that relating it and putting yourself in their position helps sometimes to sort out the problem.
Yes. Well, it's a lot of psychology involved.
A lot. Yes. I should say more diplomacy than psychology, actually.
More
But
diplomacy.
because the psychology comes in the understanding of the part, understanding what they are, and that you do with the director.
Yeah.
If you have a very good understanding with the director, he lets you know what you want that person to be, the sort of character that person wants to be. And then it's always that in between sort of cloud where the part is being created by the actor when he put the costume on.
Yes.
He put the costume on and then suddenly he see a new direction that he could take because that direction is there, and suddenly you gave him an idea that maybe he didn't have before because he put something on, he moves in it. I mean, I remember Ralph Fiennes with the costume of Voldemort. He could see the layer of silk, he could turn around, and suddenly he wanted even more layers and more to be even softer. He could find an inspiration in that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most beautiful moments of
Oh,
our
wonderful. Yes. It informs the plot, the
Yes.
progression of the plot, as well as
Yes,
the
yes,
development of the character.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Of all the wizards and witches in the wizarding world, who would you most yearn to design for again?
I designed for almost all of them again and again
You
and
would,
again.
yeah.
But if I could, I like very much Lestrange, you know, the bad one, because I love baddies, like I explained you,
Yes.
but also because it would be nice to see a revolution. If she finish in Alcatraz, chained, or if she becomes maybe a good person.
Yes.
Maybe she sees the truth and then suddenly she becomes a good person and then she will stop being interesting for me.
Oh,
But
you won't want to design her anymore. You're not only amazed with fantasy, but also with sci-fi. And I'm thinking, of course, in Gravity, those costumes couldn't have been more intrinsic to the story. And your costumes truly are the set, too.
oh my love, they were a nightmare, those costumes.
Oh, tell me.
Oh, nightmare, because they're completely false. They're completely insane. Because nobody gets out like that of an astronaut costume to jump in the water in perfect underwear with a perfect body. Of course not. So the challenge was to create astronaut suit which were adapted to the script, irrealistic, but were looking so true that the public will walk with it, you know, the public will follow you.
Yes.
And that was a real challenge because I
Yes.
never worked for NASA before, you know. So I was confronted with something which had to be good, starting by the fabric, which had to be right, and then the color of white, because we had Chevrolet Whiskey as a DOP, who is the most difficult man to satisfy for light, and he forced me to show him 49 color of white before he was happy with one white, and it was not even for inside and outside, because inside he wanted a special white, outside another one. So I was doing beige with gray, brown, just to find finally he was happy, the white was not. Then we had to go on the beige. Oh yeah, I mean that was, nobody believed it. Said, oh, it's just two costumes. I spent 3 months doing them. It was terrible.
Well, they were beautiful, though. And an interior designer would understand. So many shades of white.
You understand? You understand
it's
that?
outside, it's inside. It's the difference of the lighting makes a huge difference.
I'm so happy you say that,
Oh, yes.
because I feel understood. You know?
Yes. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Your work on Black Widow, you mentioned to the students, is very dramatic. Could you talk about working with Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, she's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
She's wonderful. She's a wonderful person. Sandra Bullock as well. Sandra
Yes.
Bullock and Joanna are really my heroes. I think that it is always difficult for a woman to become a star. It's difficult, or to become a chief of enterprise, or to become anything really high. To keep your femininity, to be a mom, a good mom, like they both are, and on top of everything, be so professional and so nice with everybody working around them. They're really wonderful women.
Wonderful.
And then it was a pleasure designing for both of them. And I know that Scarlett was so demanding part. I mean, Sandra the same, because I remember fitting Sandra in New York, and she had a normal body, and she said to me, 6 weeks later I will be in London and I will be different. And I thought, oh well, they all say that, you know. But it is true. She came back with the body of an astronaut. I mean, somebody training 4-5 hours a day to
My
get
goodness.
those muscles that she needed to do all the acrobacy that she needed.
Yes.
She did it. And she kept on working out 2 hours a day. Every day we were shooting. It was atrocious. It's hard.
Yes, yes.
And I mean, I remember her holding herself like flat like that on 2 cables, but it was necessary for all the shot on gravity, because
Yes.
you know the camera was going like that, and she had to stand straight. It was like a lot of stunt because of the nature of the project, and
Yes.
she was doing that because she had incredible musculature that she created and kept
Very
on.
impressive.
Oh, it's very. It is. The same with Joanna. I mean, they are very impressive women. They work really hard, and they're still charming and they're still beautiful. And
As one would wish.
exactly, yeah.
Well, we're all wondering who will be the next James Bond. Do you have any? Are you
I have
putting
no
any
idea.
bets?
I have no
bets?
idea. I just heard yesterday that the new director
Yes.
is Denis. But who is going to be James Bond? I don't know. I think it's a very. I worked for almost 4 years with Daniel, and he's wonderful.
Yes.
He's an excellent actor, and he's a beautiful man, and very generous with other actors. He was such a perfect Bond. I cannot imagine somebody stepping in his shoes, you know. I mean, it will happen, of course it will happen, and there are lots of beautiful men, but he was so perfect because I think that in the 21st century, he was showing some weakness in the character. And I believe that 2000, at that time it was 2017, but now it is 2025, James Bond should be a man who also has his weakness and admit them,
Yes.
because that's the way mankind is going.
Yes.
You know?
And you addressed all of that. But there's no debating that your costumes, fabulous. But with 63 years of Bond history, what was the job number one when you were designing for Skyfall, for instance?
Well, I had the chance of. Daniel knows a lot about clothes, and he loves it.
That's good.
That's fantastic. A man who knows his clothes and know that. And I remember he said to me, I want a suit. I don't want a cardboard suit. I want a suit next to my body because I work out so much, and I want something where you can see my muscles, which is a challenge in a suit. So I said, fine. And then I started gathering trousers, shapes of jackets, shapes of shirt. I put that all in a suitcase. I went to see him in New York, where he lived with Rachel. And I fitted him his trousers, I fitted him that, and we choose a trouser from then Dior, I'm talking about 2000, the German designer. We found a jacket from Burberry, we found a shirt from that. And then when I had gathered all those pieces that was the shape that she wanted, different designer, I put all that in a bag and I went to see Tom Ford with, thanks God, Barbara Broccoli, who is a lady like you with her own mind. And I thought, I'm never going to be able to say to Tom Ford that Daniel wants the shape of a Burberry jacket.
Wow.
How am I going? And Barbara said, you're the designer, tell it. And I thought, okay, maybe you tell it. I was sort of embarrassed, you know. So I put all those pieces on Tom Ford's desk, which is immaculate, you know. Tom Ford desk, you have one flower here, a pen here.
Right, of
you
course.
imagine, you know, like think it's immaculate. And then I was like in a free market putting all of my clothes on it. And then I said, well, this is what Daniels want to wear. Can you produce that? And I thought, he's going to kick me out. I see the door behind. I felt that. No. He was wonderful. He said to me, okay,
And he's a
you're
filmmaker,
designer.
too.
I'm a filmmaker, exactly. My big luck was that he was a filmmaker.
Yes.
And he said, if it is the image that you want, no problem, my tailor will do it.
Fantastic.
And he sent me wonderful tailors, and everything was made for Daniel the way he wanted. And then he sold 25,000 of his dark blue tuxedo.
Okay.
And I was his best friend.
All right. Those dark blue tuxedos, who wouldn't want one, you know? And of course, you work with some of the other best designers of Donna Karan and, well, Barber, of course, and Dries Van Noten and some of the others too. And, they're all fantastic. Jimmy Choo. And Spectre, The Day of the Dead, that opening scene alone
4,000 extra.
literally dropped dead. So you talked about that you did have time though.
Yes, because
prepare.
when we started Spectre, we did not really have a script because Sam Mendes wanted a different ending for M, for the character M. And so we were a little bit stuck with that. They were more than me. But so we had no script. So I said to Barbara, excellent producer, I said, listen, I'm going to start by The Day of the Dead because that's out of the way. And anyway, you will keep that in the script. So let's get that out of the way. So went to Mexico and started a team there. I had a workroom with 200 or 300 people. And we started doing those costumes. And I had a wonderful girl there, wonderful assistant there, which is still a friend of mine, a lovely girl. And she handled she was looking after that workroom in Mexico. And I designed a 12 design, and every of the 12 design was like, again, a pyramid, you know, 12 design become 24, we became 48 because we were changing the color and the fabric and mix matching. And that's how we produced it from October to the moment that we shot it. So we had 6 months and I was constantly going to Mexico to look at it. I loved it. And that's how we had those 4. And then we started the fitting a month before.
And no one will forget that opening sequence.
Do you know that the Mexico, they kept this habit, they kept the big figure we did, you know, my costume on wheels of the dancer, they kept all that. And every year for the Day of the Dead, they are pulling them out.
Amazing.
And they said it's coming from Spectre. We gave them, when we left, we gave them all we had done. And they were really happy with it, and they are doing it.
That's amazing. It continues to have a wonderful life.
Yes, that's something that I really like, you know, that we could leave behind a piece of us in Mexico. I mean, then that means that it was a great experience, Spectre. I loved Mexico, and I loved the Day of the Dead, and I loved to study their civilization. It's a big world, but that side of the civilization for a few months, and working with a Mexican team, so creative. They were incredible. I had 30 kids of an art school to design all the masks. And that little mini workroom, they were just doing masks.
Oh,
And they were all coming from art school, and they loved it.
amazing.
And fantastic.
Well, if you ever need more masks, you know where to go. So we know 007 might appear anywhere. If he were to show up in the south of France, how would you dress him?
In a suit, no linen, because it will be not neat enough for him. No, because it's not the sort who wear linen. There's somebody else wearing linen, but not James. James would like something neater.
That's right.
So it will be a fine wool mix, something strict. Even if it's tight, it should be strict. It should be impeccable. To get it impeccable, we had 40 of them. I mean, I'm not saying it, but it should always look impeccable. You know, he should hold his machete and be back.
Oh, yes. The white dinner jackets were great, too.
Yes.
No conversation with you is complete without talking about Judy. And what a long overdue story about the Judy Garland. And what a great job Renee Zellweger did.
Yes, fantastic.
In it, too. How did wardrobe help to tell that story?
Well, first, I had no money, and that didn't happen to me for 20 years. You know, I mean, I know
you're used to these.
Yeah, I used to
extravaganzas.
Exactly. And it was the first time of my life that I thought, is it 40 centimeter or 42 centimeters for the feathers? You know,
precise.
It was that bad. It was that tight. And usually we take 10 meters in case of, you know, but no, that was like 42 centimeters, and I enjoyed it so much.
But they were beautiful, just
beautiful.
beautiful.
But also Renee, I had worked with her on Bridget Jones 25 years earlier. Yes. And then I met her again, and then she had a tough time, and she was waiting for a juicy part to come back she's an incredible artist. And I think that the part of Judy was at that moment corresponding very much.
That resonated with her.
Exactly. Exactly. She was, that part was helping her to get over herself. I think she took it like that, and that's why she's so incredible in it. She's incredible in it. And designing was amazing. And also the director is a very known theater director. So he is a brilliant man to work with. I had worked with his wife on Harry Potter, and I had met him via his wife during one of Harry Potter party. And I always said to him, I want to work with him because I want to work with you, because he's a fantastic director. And then when he did Judy, I asked my agent to call him, and I had to beg, because they said, no, you're too expensive. I said, no, I can be cheap. I promise you I can be cheap.
I can be frugal.
I can really work cheap. No, yes. And then I proved them that I could.
Yes.
And it was one of the nicest project I did, because everything came together. And Renee, when she was singing with the audience, the audience were applauding. They were crying with her. She had all the audience for her. And when she said, I hope that you love me a little bit, they were all crying, all the extra.
Don't forget about me, didn't she say?
Exactly, that's they were, everybody. She had them really in her hand.
Wow, the sign of a great actress, right? Costumes serve to advance the plot and elucidate the characters, as we said. But I love the advice that you gave to students to put your ego in your pocket. And you reminded them that filmmaking is an art form, but everyone involved also needs to make it a financial success.
Yes.
Those practical pieces of advice that you gave were very important.
Very important. I think that when people choose to work for film, of course, there are different sort of film. It was so interesting to see yesterday a French film which was made for 1.2 million.
Yes.
Which is usually a very cheap costume budget. You know what I mean? But it's also very important to know that if you work in film, you work in an industry. And an industry has to make money to survive.
Yes.
So, yes, you have to put your ego in your pocket and work for the one who is deciding to make the film, which is the director and the producer.
Very important.
And you have to understand that even if sometimes stars are very hard to handle, they are the one financing the film, and they are your bosses. Even if it's difficult, you have to understand that. And I think that it is one of the first challenge that an aspirant designer is being confronted to.
That's where that diplomacy comes back in.
Yeah.
What productions of yours can we look forward to seeing in the future, upcoming?
Oh, I just did a television series with Guy Ritchie called Young Sherlock, who is coming out. I have another film of Amazon coming out, but that television series called Young Sherlock, directed by Guy Ritchie, is coming out, I think, in February or something.
Oh, good.
And it's really fun.
Oh, good.
Very funny, beautiful, and great young actors. The hero Fiennes, who is playing young Sherlock, I had him when he was 10 years old as being young Voldemort.
Oh, wow.
And I said to him, when I saw him, like, here in front of me, like he was coming for his featuring, I said, "Do you remember me?" And he said, "No." He had completely forgotten me. But this is it, and that's for me an incredible, beautiful circle.
Yes,
To
it
have
is.
dressed him in his 10 years old and to dress him after that
Yes.
years later
Yes.
as a star in a big series with his role name. It's great. It's
Yes.
great.
Well, you maintain your relationships in this business, and that is very important too.
It is. I work with Alfonso Cuarón for 20 years now, more than 22 years even. Yes, relationship with production designer with whom I worked a lot, because we understand each other, with a great technician with whom you understand, producer who trusts you. Yes. You do. I think that you make solid friendship in that job.
You don't burn your bridges.
Yeah, you do. We don't have the pension, but we have the stories and the friendship.
That's right. That's right. And only you would understand as somebody who's been in your role. SCAD has 2 museums of fashion and film in Atlanta and here. What from the Jany Temime archive would you most want to show in a retrospective? What are you proudest of?
I think I would like to show Harry Potter, of course.
Yes.
But there are already so many Harry Potter museums. But I don't know. I don't know. I would have to think about it. The costume of Judy, certainly.
Yes.
The costume of Gravity, most probably. There are so many. There are so many. Each one of them have a story, and it's a time in my life.
Yes.
But maybe a little bit of everything. Maybe starting when I was younger and going on now.
A retrospective.
Would be a kick for me to see if I have an evolution or not. If I can see I was doing that when I was young, now I'm doing that. Do I see the evolution? It would be interesting on that point of view. And I think it's always good for young student to see and to have explained your success and your failure, why this one is better than the other, why this one was more appreciated by the public than the other one.
Interesting.
What did you do good, what did you do wrong? Because you can learn also a lot from what you did wrong.
So much.
And also a costume which was, I was looking at Bridget Jones, the one that I did with Renee, and I was looking at the ski suit, with the pink bonnet with the pompon, and I thought, hey, Jany, this is good. I was quite happy on myself after so many years, and then I don't know, sometimes I see things like that I had done, and I think, hey, that's not bad.
That's good,
And sometimes I think, oh, how could I have done that?
I don't think so. Jany, you weave elegance and character into every one of your designs, and we're just so delighted to have you here at the film festival.
Oh, thank you to have me.
I hope you'll stay in touch and maybe visit our other campuses sometime.
I would love to. I would love, because I think Savannah is one of the most beautiful towns.
It is a beautiful town, yes. Atlanta too. But we have jewelry. We have the biggest jewelry department, the biggest fibers department. So once you come to Savannah,
I want to come and see.
You'll see everything.
Thank you. That's really sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Paula.
you. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed hearing from Jany Temime. To see more of Tamime's recent work, check out the critically acclaimed series Disclaimer, starring Cate Blanchett and Kevin Kline on Apple TV+. Thank you for tuning in to On Creativity, executive produced and hosted by SCAD President and Founder Paula Wallace, with original music by SCAD alumnus George Lovett. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.